Okay, so this is where everyone's light gets kicked in.
It is dark as hell in here. Lucky I brought my lights.
Food, water.
Yeah, I think this place might have better ventilation than my own house. Before we get started, I gotta give you a little history lesson. Huh? Whoa. Don't click off the video yet. It'll be short, I promise. So back in the early 1800s, Britain and America weren't really too friendly because of the whole Declaration of Independence thing. What? There were a couple wars, yada yada yada. The important thing to know here is that at some point, the leaders in England said, hey, we got a colony out in the Atlantic that could be super useful right now. We should fortify it in case it gets attacked by those dirty American rebels. So they did. They built defensive fortifications all over Bermuda. And one of those fortifications is Fort Albert. I am at Fort Albert on the east side of the island in St. George's. So Fort Albert was actually constructed in 1843 to support Fort Victoria. It was named after Prince Albert, who was the husband of Queen Victoria at the time. It was renovated in 1865, but was abandoned in the early 1900s. Now, from there, it had an interesting history because it became a nightclub for the old Club Med that used to be in the area. But it was abandoned again in 1989, where it sat abandoned, neglected, and victim of illegal dumping until recently, when the St. George's Foundation decided to renovate it, get rid of all the garbage, clear out all the weeds and stuff, and turn it into Bermuda's newest attraction. So I'm here today, gonna get some footage so that you guys can decide if you want to see this place on your trip to Bermuda. So sit tight and let's go.
Get out of your image.
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Oh, sure. Are you a reporter?
No, not a reporter. So I just have a YouTube channel.
Oh,
so
neat.
A lot of tourists and expats that have come to live to the island, they usually watch my stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so question for you. You said you're a visitor here right now.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about Bermuda?
Oh, well, the colors of the ocean and the sky, which are incomparable. So, I mean, I'll just show you. Of course, I keep it on my phone.
I don't know if this is coming up on the camera,
but you know what I'm saying.
Picture of the ocean right there on a clip of shit.
So I look at it all day long.
After 15 years of work, this fort was completed in 1842. It was part of an unprecedented, huge, massive buildup of the British military, especially on the east end of the island, after the War of 1812. After that war, they started cracking at the mighty Fort Cunningham at Paget Island. That was completed in 1823. Then they got cracking with Victoria, and a year after that, they started working on this fort. Because after the War of 1812, that ended in a stalemate between America and Britain. Everybody believed, for very good reason, that was just a warm-up war for a much greater conflict. But lucky for the British, America decided to, as priority number one, to settle the massive amounts of land that she purchased as part of the Louisiana Purchase. And then after many years of doing that, she ran into a very weak, unindustrialized country called Mexico. So she thought, okay, well, let's pick a fight with these guys and take Arizona, New Mexico, California, Texas, and the list goes on. They had great big tents here, and this was a restaurant, bar, nightclub for the Club Med. In 1843, You wouldn't have seen that. You would have seen a mound of earth arching across there, and you would have seen 7 32-pounder guns, which had a range of about 1.5 miles. Quite powerful guns for their time. And they remained there till the late 1850s, when the 32-pounders were sent back to England to be rifled, their barrels rifled out and put on ships probably, and they replaced them with 24-pounders out there.
You don't want to be too,
Poop shack.
That's probably for gun. Or for.
Is that the poop shaft?
Blood.
The poop shaft.
below what?
Because they've got the magazine.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is where everyone's light gets kicked in. Somebody look at the light. Oh, yours is just on. There, that's on. Yeah, it's on. Not that light is on. You take that, Barbara.
It is dark as hell in here. Lucky I brought my lights. Let's...
Provisions, food, water, and anything else that was important to keep the men supplied while they're working down in there. Here, just spread out everybody quite nice.
Ooh, what's down there?
There's no structural or military reason why you have this. All right, if you read a book, you'll say, well, they put the shells there, they put the shells there. Well, why have this thing here? You could just have all this thing back and none of this. The Army was very much a place where they trained men, and they built these things to show men how to build a couple of arches, make, a simple fireplace. Another one of these areas, you'll see where they made a much better fireplace.
That's pretty good.
Sorry? No, not right now. We will later. Yeah, everybody, we're going up to the roof. Yeah, we're gonna get some nice view shots. High elevation view shots.
And what's cool about this place too is that I'm not uncomfortable at all. We are way underground, I don't know, 50 feet, 100 feet, I couldn't tell you, but it's actually very nice ventilation here. It's very breezy. Yeah, I think this place might have better ventilation than my own house.
Coming back.
Blocks. What does that mean? This blocks dude was all over the place. Hail that man, ASO, VW, 1974. Jesus. it's more comfortable down here on the oldest stone than it is above ground. So I can see how they would stay here for hours and days at a time. So yeah, it's pretty comfortable, honestly. Unless you're claustrophobic, then it must have been a nightmare.
You're a tall guy, so
Watch your head, yeah. Hang on and watch your head. You want to give me an arm? Watch your head. Don't stand up. Don't
Be careful.
Now you're clear.
thank you. To the far left and the far right, that's how it all looks. So all that's been beat up with thousands probably of bullets. And then when they would walk over there to look at their targets to see how they did and see who got the best points, they would turn around and they would shoot at targets right here. Or they would just willy-nilly shoot. They weren't putting targets up there, but all those holes that you see that are fairly nice and round, they're all made by bullets.
Why don't they just shoot?
So this is an example of where heritage site want need to become protected, and a great way to do that is to get UNESCO World Heritage Site protected, because it's a world recognized brand, if you will. Or
I tell you to go too. It's not that hard to get up. It just once you get to the top, I'm not quite sure.
Just got to figure out.
Yeah, and that might be hard because you're going to be sort of on a funny angle. You know, maybe 10 years ago. Oh, Tom, come on. Okay, let's see this.
There you go. All right.
All right, Zora.
if you want to come back, look, if you want to come back, Omar, if you want to come back next week as well, you can come.
Well, I just had one. Well, not even a question. I just wanted to know if you had anything you wanted to say to people that are thinking about coming to visit
Oh, right.
the site. Yeah.
Say. Oh, well, I mean, that's an open question.
Yeah, it's open to question. However you want to answer.
Well, you know, this fort has a lot to offer for people with very different interests. If you are interested in history and the history of the fort, and that goes back to the history of Bermuda, this is a great fort. There's a lot going on in a reasonably small area. But if you're not into history, just walking around the outskirts of the fort, the top of the keep, walking around the moat, it's great views. It's a real adventure. So there's something for everybody. And you can say that for many of our heritage sites. There's something for everybody here. So
Thanks a lot, Pete.
all right.
So that was the long lost Fort Albert, raised from the dead. It is about to rain, so I need to get out of here.
A few minutes later.
Look what happened 2 minutes after I finished recording this stuff. I feel pretty lucky right now, I'm not gonna lie. As you can see, well, if you don't know where this place is real quick, we are right up the hill from St. Regis. So if you're staying at the St. Regis, you can just come right up. Or if you're looking for Fort Albert, go to St. Regis first, look across the street, and then you will see the hill to Fort Albert. It's pretty inconspicuous, to be honest, and there's no signage yet. But they're going to continue working on this place. The restoration continues. So I encourage you guys, if you're Bermudian and you've never seen it, come see it. If you're visiting the island and you want something and you're looking for an interesting tour, come. It's about 90 minutes. The guy, our tour guide there, Paul, He has let me know that if I speak to anybody and if you're interested, he can organize group tours for you. He can organize all that. So just let him or myself know. Again, you can find him through the St. George's Foundation. It's an amazing group. They're doing amazing work. And yeah, this was great. I love visiting Bermuda forts. Fort Scholar is still my favorite, but honestly, Albert might move into number 2 ahead of Fort Hamilton after this, because the innards of it are really, it's really dense and really deep, and it's been restored very well. It's been well maintained, and this place has a great view, as most forts do, because they had to fire at ships and stuff. Invaders, when they were coming to the island. Invading Americans, I should say, because as you know, the British and the Americans were not very friendly during those days. So they built a lot of these forts to keep out you Americans, which we are not doing right now. We need you Americans to come visit. So keep an eye on the channel, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Visit isleofdevils.com if you want to book an appointment with me or any of my associates and get some assistance on visiting or relocating to the island. And that's it for now. I'll catch you guys in the next video.